If you run a business in New Zealand and you're unsure where to start with AI, this video is the one for you. I work with businesses all across New Zealand, helping them implement AI solutions that drive true ROI. I see the same questions, mistakes, and confusion around AI every single day. So I've compiled this video together as a baseline knowledge to help people out. I'll be covering these key points so you get a good baseline of what Gen AI actually is and how it can impact your business. So what actually is AI? I want to make a clear distinction here that we're talking about generative AI. AI has been around for ages. The text prediction on your phone, Netflix recommendations, machine learning for forecasting. It's all been around for ages. But recently when we talk about AI, we're almost only talking around the generative AI. And this is like your ChatGPT, it is your chatbot. To keep it really simple, it is just pattern recognition. It has taken pretty much all the information that's out there on the internet and trained itself on that to pick up patterns, how an email is responded to, what information's out there, how do we answer these different questions, and all of that is put into this model that you can chat with. Then when you type a question, all it is doing is predicting the next word in the sequence until it provides you a full answer. This generation isn't limited to just text output where you input a question and you get an output answer. It can actually generate images, music, and video. The way I like to think about it is it's just a smart intern. If you have a new hire come on to your company that is relatively fresh, maybe straight out of university, you've got to view them as the same thing. They think they know a lot, but actually they don't know too much about who you are, your business, your client, your customers, and what you're actually trying to achieve. So when we're using these tools, it's really important that we give it the good context. You may have heard of a prompt before. This is where we put information into a tool like ChatGPT. That's really important we provide all the context and all the information needed behind the scenes for it to actually do the job properly. It can also be confidently wrong, so it's really important that we fact check the information that has been provided to us before passing that on. And so that's why it's very similar to having a smart intern. So what are the main tools that you actually need to know? I've broken it down into 3 different categories. The first one is your ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini, or Copilot. And these are chatbots that you can speak to. You can have conversations back and forth. You can jump on and actually use your voice and have a voice conversation with. You can connect them to your company information, your standard operating procedures, and it can search that information for you. It can write emails, do anything really text-based, as well as a bit of image and video generation as well, but mainly text-based. There are 4 different ones here that are the major players, and the one that you choose is so dependent on your business. Copilot is the one integrated inside of Microsoft. It is Microsoft Copilot. So if your business's information's all in that Microsoft ecosystem using SharePoint, Outlook, etc., Copilot is the one that makes the most sense. The same is said for Gemini. Gemini is from Google, so if you're in the Google operating system, it typically leads towards Gemini being the best. Claude and ChatGPT are a little bit different. ChatGPT is the most popular one with almost 900 million users weekly around the globe, which is insane. But Claude is a lot more popular in terms of the developers that are a bit more technical with their AI usage. These can be connected to both your Microsoft or Google systems, so it really depends on which is preferred. The next important type of tool is a meeting note taker. Humans are so much better at communicating through our voice than we are sending a text or an email. That's why when we have anything important, we all sit down in a meeting or we do it over Zoom now using our voice. What AI is really good at is sitting there and actually listening and transcribing our conversations. And so these are meeting transcription or voice tools. Fireflies, Otter, and Whisperflow, but also Copilot and Gemini have that inbuilt as well. And so what this allows me to do with any of the meetings that I go to is I can have this running in the background. I no longer have to manually type out notes or write them down by hand. It is listening to the entire conversation. At the very end of it, I get a full transcription of what was said, but also I've got a summary overview and the key action items that people need to do. If I need to go reference it, I can ask AI, hey, what was that conversation we were talking about last week? And it can answer those questions for me. So it has all of that knowledge stored there for us without us having to take notes ourselves. The last one is automation tools. And so this is Make, Zapier, or N8N, or even Power Automate if you're in the Microsoft environment. And this allows you to automate repetitive tasks within the business. Now these aren't necessarily AI related. It could be just transferring data between systems or other sorts of automation. But we can add AI to these and make them even more powerful. Some really cool use cases here is around customer service. If we're getting basic information queries coming in by email, we can actually set up an automation that responds to them uses AI to search our company information and responds to them immediately, providing that answer really quick. So where is AI really good? It's really good at doing that first draft of an email, taking your tone of voice if it's a very grumpy email you may have written and making it sound more professional. That is a really good quick win. Any of that repetitive admin work, if you're constantly reading through reports and finding information, if you're copying and pasting data between different systems, that's where AI and automation really thrives. Summarizing documents, as I said, customer FAQs, but also brainstorming ideas. Hey, I've got this problem in my business. What are my different options that I can do to try solve it? What are the different softwares out there? Doing that kind of research and help for you as well. But also analyzing data, putting in a sales report, for example. What does this information actually mean for my business? And what are my key insights and actions I may need to take? But there are a lot of things that AI is just not good at as well, and it's really important to know. It isn't a magical black box that can solve all of your business problems. It's a garbage in, garbage out system. So we need to provide it good information about us and what we want it to do, and then our results are going to be a lot better. Like I said at the start, we're going to be treating it like our intern. It isn't 100% accurate without checking. A lot of the time for the most basic information, it will be very, very good. But if you build up that trust too much, you provide it something a bit more advanced and it makes it up and you believe it, it's really important that we still have that fact check in the loop. Otherwise, we're taking that responsibility. It's not good at that complex human judgment calls. In our business, we should be making the decisions. AI can be used as a tool to speed up that repetitive work or provide us information, but the decisions should be still remaining with the humans. Knowing your specific business, if you just go into a generic AI tool, it knows nothing about you and who you are. When you pay for these tools, which I'll talk about, you can actually train it on your information in a safe and secure environment, and that kind of overrides that problem. One of the other points is around that truly creative content as well. Because it's trained with so much information that's out there on the internet, without really good prompting and talking to it with the exact information we want it to pull out, it's going towards the average of all of that information. And so it's not going to become creative, it's not going to be the most amazing LinkedIn post, it's just the average of all of this information, and so it's an important thing to note. The other thing it does struggle with is NZ specific context. It's been getting much better as time goes on, but because there's so much information that it's trained on is stored with American information, that New Zealand context is quite hard to get in there, and so often has to rely on web searching, which sometimes doesn't work out very well as well. AI is best at getting you from 0% to 90%. Then that additional 10% on top is where your input goes. If I am drafting an email or a report, I can provide AI all of the information for that. It can get me 90% of the way there. I go through, fact check it, change a few things of how it's worded it, and get it to that 100% finished product. Expecting it to get that 100% of the way there is very, very difficult for some of these tasks. You'll have to provide it almost everything that's going through your head, which is very difficult for us humans to do. But if a task takes me 10 minutes and I've got to do that multiple times a day, and it now takes me only 1 minute because I'm going through and fact checking it before passing it on, that is a huge ROI for my business. Now, security is a huge point that we must discuss when we're talking about AI tools or any kind of software tools that you're plugging into your business. AI tools especially, because they've been trained on almost all the information that's out there on the internet, they're going to want as much more and new information as possible to improve their models. That's why any of these free tools, if you put in your own company documents, policies, contracts, whatever it may be, AI will actually use that potentially to train on. That means if Joe down the street goes and asks, hey, what is that plumbing company doing with their contracts? You've potentially passed that information in. It could provide that to the user without you ever knowing. So the big risk here is do not put company information into any free tool. If it's free, you are the product. The important note here, which I see a lot of business owners not quite realize, is that your team are already using AI. If you do not have a license that is passed out to them, if you don't have an AI policy, or even if you do have an AI policy, staff members are going to find ways to do their job quicker, make it more efficient, so they can spend less time doing the work they don't like. So even if you do have all that stuff in place, there's a high chance that your staff are using these tools without you even knowing. And that's why the education piece here is really, really important, and providing your staff the resources to go, hey, what is good security practice? What can we do here? It's the same as phishing on your emails. Don't click a random link. Don't upload your company information to free AI tools, even if it does help your job out significantly. So what is actually worth paying for and what isn't? So I would highly recommend that every business needs to choose what AI chatbot model, whether that's ChatGPT, Copilot, Claude, or Gemini, that the business is using. This would most likely be the one that your business is already in. If you're in the Microsoft environment, it's typical to go into Copilot, Google if you're in Gemini, or Claude and ChatGPT if you're a little bit more flexible in that regard. They're typically a lot better as well. A lot of different software companies are already coming out with AI tools embedded inside of it, so often it's quite worth to look into what they offer you and potentially get that as well. I know for Xero, around automating the account reconciliation, is using AI now, which has been really awesome for me in my own business, so that's worthwhile. Also looking at those little automations, where can we save that small time as a quick win and build that momentum? A lot of the time, focusing on these quick wins can actually go, hey, this is another place that this could be implemented across our business, and it opens up a whole range of new ideas. The other key one here is having staff experimentation time. Yes, our business needs to be pushing through and hitting all our deadlines, our KPIs, whatever it may be, but actually giving staff an hour a week potentially, or even more, to just go, hey, here are these AI tools, here are the ones that you can use. I would like you to spend that time using ChatGPT on our paid plan to try automate your work and make it more enjoyable. That's been really, really good for a lot of businesses that I've spoken to. One thing that I would recommend skipping is these really expensive AI wrappers. When they're taking these base ChatGPT models and they're saying it is a perfect model for using it for education potentially, but it's just the ChatGPT by itself. And if you knew how to use ChatGPT properly, you could just go to it directly rather than paying for their expensive additional tool. Paid prompting courses is also another one. There are a lot of courses online around AI and teaching you. Some of them are really good and worthwhile. That is the education piece. But if it's only just selling you how to prompt AI, that information is free and very accessible. The trick here, AI knows how to speak to AI and teach you things. So if I want to prompt better, ask AI, how do I prompt better? This is who I am, this is my business. Also, if you've never used ChatGPT or Copilot consistently and feel like you're using it to its full extent, I would avoid buying additional custom tools unless there's a clear ROI that solves a specific problem in your business and there are some other case studies that it's actually worthwhile. The other one that is a big red flag is if they promise to replace your team. This is a common misconception, I think, especially with AI at the moment. It can get you 90% of the way there. A lot of the time it can't do that 100%. We still have to have that human verification layer. If it's going to try to replace your entire team, there's a little bit of a red flag there. So what I want you to do this week is start by writing 3 tasks down that you absolutely hate doing, the admin, the tedious, the repetitive, that you're not actually adding that human value to. From there, pick the most simple one that you have. Make sure you have a paid chatbot subscription that you can go into and just ask it, hey, this is my problem, outline all of the information, all of the context behind the scenes, and then ask it how I could solve this using AI. You'll be surprised about the different options that it provides you, and it can actually walk you through exactly how to set that up for your own business. It's not something that you need to deeply think about, just get in there, start playing around with the tools, and that's the best way to learn from getting stuck in. For a quick recap, AI is a tool. It is not a magical black box that will solve all your information and problems. It's great from getting you from 0 to 90% for the majority of tasks where you can provide that human verification and final check. It's important to be smart about security. Don't go putting company information into free AI tools. Make sure you're paid in a secure environment. Don't overspend, especially if they're promising you the world of replacing your team. Likely it might not live up to those expectations. And you can start now. Go into these tools, ask how I can use them better, list out your problems, and you'll be surprised what you can achieve. I've helped over 15 businesses with AI implementation across New Zealand. So if you want to book a free discovery call, click the link in description below. If you're an individual or a student and looking about upskilling as well, please reach out. I'd love to connect with you. Thank you very much. Cheers.